that's what you get.
I don't understand these people that you know, they're not excited about something in this life. And I have profound respect for people who, whatever their job is, they do it well, they do it with pride. I don't care whether, you know, you're you know, the guy riding on the back of the garbage truck. If you're not passionate about what you do, I mean, what's the point?
My biggest passion is learning. I've got stacks of books that I'm reading. Usually I've got like 4 or 5 different books that I'm reading simultaneously, which just kind of shows you my attention deficit problems. But again, the music really keeps me going. Luckily, my daughter has excellent taste in music. Laura, who's now almost 18, she and I share lots of iTunes purchases.
Make that connection with me. They don't really like.
We both had a background in college textbook publishing. I had contributed things to a variety of different introductory psychology textbooks, and Sandy was a senior developmental editor with a college textbook publishing company.
I think what really makes our book different is the voice. It's not written for the professional psychologist. It's not written for the research professor. It's written for a student sitting alone in his room or her room, or sitting on the bus or waiting in line or whatever in the library, reading that chapter, trying to understand the material and going, oh.
The challenge for us was to create a text that overcame those limitations, where we talked to students, where we engaged students, where we got them, you know, actively engaged in the topic, you know, where we related everyday experiences that they could relate to, and then turned around and showed them how psychology could give them additional insights to that kind of thing.
If you sit in the classroom of any successful teacher, you will find that they tell lots of stories.
And the stories always have a pedagogical element to them. I mean, it's not just stories for the sake of stories. I mean, not at all. Because you use the story to hang these concepts on it.
The point about stories is that it helps people empathize, it helps people understand, it brings things home to them. This edition, we've added a lot of new material on culture, quite a few new and revised culture boxes and so forth. And I think one thing that we do a little differently in our cultural coverage is that we try to get students to recognize their own sort of assumptions about what's normal and see some of the assumptions that underlie their own beliefs and their own cultural practices. But on the second page, it's also 2 columns.
Is it?
And then there's like a line across.
Well, then we work on the second page.
There's a lot new in this book. I think you'll find a lot that's familiar, but I think you'll find a lot of new material as well. Much as I love the previous editions, we felt it was time for more contemporary, different kind of look, and I think people are going to like that. Totally new art package. Also, the art, I think, is much more crisp, clear, easier to understand. There are tons of new studies, some minor, some large. One thing that's changed is in the chapter 2 is the organization to really emphasize the whole notion of plasticity.
15 years ago, we thought the brain was hardwired by, you know, the age of 14, okay? And we now know that, you know, the brain doesn't fully develop until about age 24, 25, somewhere in there.
The more we learn about human behavior, the more we discover just how flexible it is, how much you can improve yourself, how much you can change yourself. It's a really different point of view especially for students who maybe have never felt like they were the most gifted student in class.
There's always those success stories. You know, there's that couple of students that you touch every semester where they get excited about learning, or you can, you know, they come to you with a question and you can show them how psychology's, you know, got some insight to this or whatever. That's when it's really exciting. When you get somebody that you can kind of turn on to the science of psychology, or just turn on to the excitement of learning.